meeting is being recorded.
Hi, my name is Gil Robs, and I am a race director for UltraMarathon called Mind the Ducks 12 Hours, which is held formerly known at the North Ponds Park. Right now it's renamed there as Sexton Park, which is held annually at on the Mother's Day's weekend. And I invited for this interview two-time Mighty Ducks winner Allison Matusik. Hi, Allison. And
Hello.
Mary DaSilva, who unofficially set American age group records at the 12 hours at the last race. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Gil. Hi, Allison.
So, and as you can see, I'm wearing the
All
Mighty
right.
Ducks
All
tie,
right.
which was given to me by the folks from Helen a few years ago. It was a Mighty Ducks. So
It's very nice.
thank you. So anyway, we have few two-time winners of Mighty Ducks, but I think you might be the first one who is a back-to-back winner at the Mighty Ducks, Allison. So congratulations. And Mary, like you said just before we started this interview, you have set one official American age group record at Mighty Ducks, and that was 2012. That's a year actually when I ran as well. So that's the first time I think we actually ran on the same course, and you're set up unofficially. So, and I think what you said, your smashed previous age group record by 9 miles. So at age 75, finishing it was 51 miles. So that's impressive. So anyway, so I'd like to hear you guys. How was your Mighty Ducks experience, starting from when you signed up? What was the goal for a race? What was the plan as far as like pace goes? What walk and run ratio, food? Did you get your plans executed? Did you have a crew? And so off you go. Allison, what's up with you?
Yeah, so I'll start. So I realized I would do this right after the one in September last year. I was like, well, now I've got to do it again. So I think signed up, put it on the calendar. I struggled with running this winter as far as getting a whole lot of mileage in. So I was running maybe 20 miles a week, up to 30, 40 some, but running outside in the cold and with the snow, I just didn't get quite as many miles in as I had hoped to, but I thought I'd run the race and, just see where I could go. My goal as far as running versus walking, I try to just run as long as I can and not walk. And so for this one, I was like, well, maybe I could get to 50, 55 before I start alternating. But for this one, actually, I ran the whole thing. I didn't walk. So I don't know if I should try after listening to others with their run walk strategies. I thought maybe that is something I should try. So we'll see for that for future races. As far as nutrition, I like to eat solid foods as long as possible. With the weather being a little bit cooler, I was able to eat my peanut butter and jellies for at least, I think, 6 hours into it or so. So I'd stop by the aid station, double fist it with peanut butter and jellies, and then keep going. And then after that, a lot of the Gatorade and water, and once in a while, I actually like the Coke, getting towards the end there, that helps settle my stomach a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that my strategy was just to keep going as long as I could.
Yeah, very good. I have to comment that it was like when I get the ultra bug myself, and the concept of running and walking was really, really strange. So it was something, but I had to consciously do it in a training before I wouldn't say it became second nature, but it was no longer a big deal. It was that mental thing that's over, like didn't couldn't get over it. So
Mhm.
Mary, so let's start with you. Like I'll have to tell that like before the race, I was exchanging email messages. Mary, she was not sure if she's gonna come, how long she's gonna stay, all that stuff, and then she comes and stays for entire time and finishes 51 miles. So tell me how you went and how it was your day.
Okay. Well, compared to last year, I drove out the morning of the race, and I got up real early, drove there. I was really tired, and so I wasn't really. I didn't know how long I was going to be able to stay there because I might have been called home. So I only ended up staying there 7 hours, and then I headed back. Well, this year, Ellen Burnett, the woman that was carrying the flag, if you remember her, Allison,
Mhm.
she rented the hotel room for Friday night and Saturday night, and she texted me and said if I wanted to come out Friday, if I could get out there, that I could stay there. And so that, Tony was feeling pretty good, and so I said, yeah, okay, I drive out. So I drove out Friday. And then when I got there, I beat Ellen there. And so then I went over to the course because I was figuring on doing quarter mile. Let's see, I was going to start out with a quarter mile walk, quarter mile run, quarter mile walk, quarter mile run, because I wanted to be running the last quarter mile to get across that finish line to start walking. So that was my plan. And it really worked. It worked pretty good, but I found out that I was doing them in 10-mile sections, and they took 2 hours for around 2 hours, under 2 hours for a couple of those 10 miles. And then over 2 hours, it was like 2 hours and a half. I was really slowing down, but I forced myself to slow down because in the first 2 groups of 10 miles, I was looking at my heart rate and it was up to 175 and it was still going up. So I kind of slowed down a little. So when I started out, I was doing an 11.8 minute mile. And then the second one, I was just doing 11, a little bit more, but my heart rate was still going up. So I slowed down and went down to like 14-minute miles and, figured that I could still get to my goal of at least getting that 50.1 miles to unofficially set a record. So that's how I started out, and it really worked well for me. I mean, I don't think I could have done any more I think if I had kept going with that 11-minute mile speed, that I would have not made it to the finish. So anyways, that's what worked out for me. So that's basically what I did.
I'm just sitting, I'm listening, I'm calculating age 75, 11-minute miles and all that stuff. That's not computing in my head. It's like something surreal.
Well, one thing I have to tell you is that since COVID hit in, 2020, from May of 2020 until today, I've run every single mile or walked I've walked every single day or run every single day for 3 years. I did the, I know Lazarus Lake. Obviously we all know him. He did these virtual races. Actually, he was on the team that I was on, a team of 10 to do around the world, which was quite a substantial miles, but it was a team of 10 for that. But that was a year-long thing. And then there was 3 races across Tennessee and back, and to go across Tennessee, it was like 640 miles or something like that. But that went from May to the end of August. So I did that 2020, 2021, 2022. And I did the around the world. So I've either run or walked miles for 3 years. 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
3 years. So that sort of helped me with this race, the stamina wise.
Okay. So what did you eat and what did you drink? What's your nutrition plan for the race?
Oh, well, my nutrition plan is I depend on the fantastic aid station. I usually don't hit the food there for at least half of the race or even more. But I have my pickle juice that if I need anything to drink, I when I stop at my aid station after the 10 miles that I did, I would have a swig of pickle juice, but I had my water bottle and I always had that with me. So, and I'd have a couple of those like ginger chews on my water bottle, and I chew that. But I didn't really start eating till later on in the race. But then I didn't stop. Every time I came around, I grabbed something at the aid station.
Oh, that's interesting because that's something what slightly goes against what I always preach and what I always work for me, that you got to start eating right away. But as one of my RD mentors and Ultra mentors, Tom Perry, would say, if it works for you, do it. So,
absolutely.
All right. So now the next question is about, just at what point during the race for Allison, when did you know that you are in the lead and you're going to win the race? And did it change anything, how you did it? And Mary as well. I mean, as much as you downplay that you are going for a record, that I pretty much knew after. I mean, I knew that you knew where the mark is. So at what point did you know that you will hit that mark and then you're going to go beyond that mark? So Allison, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I'm not sure when I knew I was in the lead, maybe mile 20 or so. I try not to look at the screen until, a few hours in. But I never knew how close anyone was behind me. So I didn't know that I was going to win until probably the last couple laps or so, because I didn't know how close people were. I knew there were people that I barely saw, and so I thought they were right on my heels. I didn't know because I never stopped to really look.
Yeah, I checked the results, and it was Stephanie Schubmel was about 3 miles back at the end. But I mean, yeah, it was not. I mean, clearly it wasn't guaranteed until the end.
Yeah.
So did it change anything? I mean, so basically what you're saying, you just execute your plan, that's what your plan. And
yeah, my plan was to keep going. And then I also, once, it was going well, I wanted to run 1 more mile than last year. So that was my real motivation, was to get that 1 more mile in.
So which you did.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mary, how about you? So you knew the record before coming in. So at what point you knew that you're going to surpass it, get the record, surpass it, and what was your?
Well, I really didn't know until like probably the last 2 hours if I was going to really do it. But I knew I had passed what the current record was. What that current record was 42 or something like that. And that wasn't what I was shooting for. I wanted a 50 something, So that's why I really didn't know, because I was shooting a little bit higher than that. And then the other thing is, every time I'd see Wanda, I'd think I was behind, I was trying to keep up with Wanda. I can't pronounce their last name. I love them to death.
Mel.
Yes, but so that was when I finally knew. And the last 10 miles were kind of tough. I was like, you know, I was watching the clock, and I'm going, oh my God. And then when I got to the last mile that I did, the 51.6, I was thinking, and there was only like 10 minutes left, and I go, oh, should I try for another one? But I knew I wasn't going to make it around. So anyways, that was my plan. And that's when I started thinking, okay, wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, once again, congratulations on a win, and congratulations on setting the record.
Unofficial,
even if it
but
isn't officially.
we know it.
Yeah.
And this is one too, by the way. 2000, what is it? 2019, 2018. But I'm not. Wait a second. I'll take this off. But that's why I wore it, because, you know, I'm okay with unofficials.
Yeah. No, I'm glad, because that's if I had any regrets, it's like I did not certify the race to make it official. So
I don't want that to be a regret of yours. Okay.
Well, you know, just it is what it is. But I'm glad that you're graciously, you know, just like not going after me for the record. So, and you know, the health, it's still, you know, just like it is certified course. You know, just the only difference it is like didn't file a paperwork before, and that is what it is at this point. So, Allison, how was like your second time back at the Mind the Ducks? Like first year, like I think it wasn't your first altar, but it was first Mind the Ducks, and I think it was your first timed race as well. So how was second time around coming to the course? And
yeah, so last year was my first timed race that I'd ever done. So I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know what to expect at all. So this time, yeah, going in, I knew what to expect. I knew it would be a great aid station that I could grab my peanut butter and jellies at. And you know, when I tell people about it, they're always like, well, you must go crazy running around in circles. And you don't at all. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, there's so many people, and I think it's one of my favorite races as far as just the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree. I mean, I think first, I mean, I have said this before, first time I tried time race, I thought the same thing. That is absolutely nuts to go do it. But it's like, once I tried it, it was really interesting. It's more like the experience I never had before. And I summarized all those things in it, 10 reasons why timed ultras is more fun than you ever thought. And that's on a race's website. But I think it's more like in traditional ultras, your last couple hours, you're mostly by yourself. Even if you have somebody around you, it's just usually the same folks who are the same pace. But I liked about timed ultras that you got to see everybody, from a leader, the fastest guy to the slowest guy, regardless of your speed. So the 12 hours, you get to talk to everybody. So it's like, it's different fun. So Mary, so this is, I'm pretty sure we're going to go back. We're going to talk about your running athletic history as well. But I think this is the race which put you on a map, get you in ultra world, and you know you keep coming back. And I think you and Kristen Schwend are the only strikers left for the race who have participated in every Mind the Ducks race since the inception of 2010. Mm-hmm. So how about your feelings when you're coming back year after year to the Mind the Ducks? Are there any differences from year to year?
Oh yeah. The first year, 2010, it's like I had only been running for a few years, and I was, you know, like my first race was a 3K mountain goat, not the 10K mountain goat here in Syracuse that goes straight uphill. It was like a flat one. And that was my first race I ever did. And I didn't even get into running until I was working at Lockheed at the time, and my manager brought a very good runner from our area, Brandon, to an all hands meeting, and he had him get up there and speak about running. And then when it was over, my boss said, anybody here, I mean, and there was probably 100 people there, that wants to get into running. He says, I run after work every day and I'll meet you, whatever. So anyways, that's how I started running. And so that was in 2005, I should say. So I had from 2005 until 2010 when I ran the Mind the Ducks, and I had, what did I do? I hit something.
No.
Are we still on? Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So and my coach was running the Mind the Ducks, the 2010 Mind the Ducks. So the night before the race, I called him and said, hey, I'm going to do it. And I never trained at all. So anyways, he agreed to it, and he came and picked me up and took me to the race. And I ended up doing like 40 some miles. But at the end of the 12 hours, I sat in the lawn chair and I couldn't get up. I thought, I mean, my body was burned out, and it was like, I couldn't believe that I would ever go back and do that again to myself. But that was like a 40-mile thing. Then the next year I trained with my coach, and I ended up doing more miles than I've ever done on this. I did 57 some miles. So, you know, and then I just love that race. I love the people. I just really, really enjoy it. You get to talk to them as you're going, you know, as you're in your walk mode. And it's just always been a favorite race of mine. And I've done them all. And there was one year that they didn't hold the Mind the Ducks, but other than that, I've done them all.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing a lot more, Allison.
Yeah, I will.
So, yeah, I mean, you kind of transition to the next phase of this interview that I want to get is like, I want to just hear about your athletic background, how you get in the running stuff. So, yes, I mean, I know that you told us, Allison, last year, but, you know, just whoever who are watching this interview for the first time. So why don't you repeat it? Tell us again how did you get in the running? What did you do running? What did you do besides running before, or just running was it? So
yeah, so I ran cross country starting in middle school, ran in high school, also played lacrosse in high school. In college, I played rugby. And then after college, my dad had been running marathons for a few years. So he got me starting running marathons. So my first one was in 2004. And then, so I would run a marathon or two every year just to keep in shape. And then I think it was 2017, a coworker of mine had been bugging me for a few years to try ultras. And so in 2017, I ran a 100-mile ultra. And then I ran another one in 2019. And, you know, as I was doing those two, I had started looking around. I was like, okay, so what are other local ultras? And that's where I came across Mind the Ducks. I was just doing a Google search on, you know, local ultras. I was like, you know, and so I'd been looking at it for a couple of years, when last year I was like, oh, I didn't miss it this year, and I'm in somewhat good shape. I'll sign up for it. So that was my first actually experience doing a timed one, but also getting a 100K. So.
So gradual from like cross country in high school, middle school, then joining your dad for marathons, keeping marathon pace, and just getting into transition.
Yeah.
All right. So Mary, you said your boss got into it, and then I think I remember what you're telling me once or somewhere I read that you said you started running only like when you were 60.
Oh yeah. I was a softball player for years, and I even played at GE one year, and I was on the men's softball team. So and one team, like the captain of that team didn't even want to field this team because I was a female and I shouldn't have been there. So then after that, then I started organizing the girls, you know, so then I kind of managed that for a year, and we had like, maybe 4 or 6 girls teams, and got a lot of the girls into doing the slow pitch softball, not fast pitch. I just want to make that clear. Then a few years later, then GE had co-ed teams. And then I was on one of the co-ed teams for a while. And then after that, then I don't know, then the running came, you know, the running thing came in, and I got more involved in that. And I haven't picked up a bat and a ball since 2000, and let's see, it's had to be 2007 or something like that. Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, very good. So I guess the moral of the story, if you want to set the age group records, you can wait till you start running at age 60 or something. Okay, got it. So I'll retire from running for like next couple of years. And
yeah, you got plenty of time.
yeah, okay, very good. So Allison, actually, one thing that I just was interesting to hear that you're running, you didn't really put like a lot of miles, but yet you managed to win the race, which I'm glad to hear that, because it's like, I don't think it's not about the volume of miles, but it's about the quality of the miles that you put in. So tell us more about your training schedule, how often you train, even if you do 20 miles, do you cross train? Do you have trainers, any training plans, or you just
Yeah, so I know I should cross train, but I don't. I just run. I run usually, I'd say average is 30 miles a week, but a lot of times, like I was saying, in the winter when it's cold and snowy, I'm just getting in 3 miles a day. I started like Mary in May of 2020, I started running every single day. It was part of the mental part of that pandemic that I was just going to get out and do it. And so I've put in at least 3 miles every day. I get up at 5 in the morning before work while my kids are still asleep, and I just go outside and run. I do a lot of hills. There are a lot of hills where we are, so I can't really go anywhere flat. So I'm always going up and down hills. But usually it's, you know, my training schedule is just, I do it. It's more of a mental thing for me. It's my downtime. It's my meditation. Just go out and think. It's my me time. So I don't train hard and fast very often at all. It's more just the slow go and enjoy the mornings. And it's usually it's 3 to 5 miles, you know, during the weekdays, and then, you know, try to get a longer run in on the weekends if I'm training for something. That's good. It. I know I should do cross training, but I don't.
A lot of us would say the same thing. I should mention as well that, like, I had an interview with 2022 male winners of Minor Ducks as well, and Nathan Price, who is a repeat winner as well. And he said as well, he averages mostly between 30 to 40 miles per week. So he's not, he's like you guys, two current winners are just low mileage ultra winners. So that shows it's more, again, like it's about quality, avoiding injuries, and not just like, yeah, speed would be nice, more miles would be nice, but if you're consistent, you will get things done. Mary, how about you? So you said you do every day, but it's just, again, like, do you follow any training plans? Do you have a coach, or you just wing it these days?
Yeah, I just wing it, but in my basement, I've got a set of weights and all that stuff that I've never touched. I don't even know how to use them. And I have my bike trainer down there, and which my bike trainer, I'm a little safer on it, because when I get my bike out and I go to the, there's a lake really nearby here, and there's a park, and I ride my bike down there, and it seems like every time, well, not every time, but a couple of times when I was there, I'd always hit the curb and I'd go flying off the bike, and it's like, whoa, what am I getting on this stupid bike for? You know, the trainer doesn't, you know, it just stays in the same place. But anyways, I would do that, and And with COVID, just like Allison, it's like every day, even if it's 3 miles or, and now aren't you to the point where even if you're real busy, you say, I got to at least go out and do 1 mile because I can't have a day that I'm not going to have a mile on. So,
Yep.
yep. COVID has been the best training thing for me. Definitely. It's made me get out there every single day.
Way to make a lemonade from lemons. So, congratulations, guys, about that. And so my next question on the list is like, what do you guys do for a living? I know, Mary, that you are retired at this point, but
I do have something to report.
Okay.
Okay. For the past couple of months, I've been volunteering at the Humane Society, like several days a week. Several, like 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day. Maybe 3 times a week. But the first 2 days I went there, they put me in the laundry room, and after 2 days of that, I told them I can't do this anymore. I want to be with the cats. I want to be with the dogs, and so now I'm in cat socializing, and I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Allison?
That sounds great. I wish I could do cat socializing a few hours a week. It sounds wonderful.
Great. You could.
Will be my retirement goals. So I work for Corning Incorporated. I work for the Pharmaceutical Technologies Division. So we make vials for vaccines, and I work in the accounts team, so working with the pharmaceutical customers. So
nothing like doesn't seem like a professional life or hobby life. It doesn't really to enhance your ultra running powers or whatnot.
No, but I mean, there's a lot of coworkers that run, and a lot that they're the ones that actually got me started with the ultra running too. So I just had an email yesterday trying to get, there's a Tahoe 200 that they're trying to get me to sign up for.
Wow.
So yeah, the next thing that I like to ask, any interesting hobbies or hidden talents or whatnot? And Allison, we'll start with you.
No hidden talents here. In my free time, so I've got 2 kids, a kindergartner and a 3rd grader. So a lot of time is that. Free time I do have now that restrictions are, starting to travel again. I do like to travel. Before this, I was talking with Gil that, I love getting up in the morning and running when I travel. You get to see the city more. And then, of course, eating all the different food, too. I'm not sure if that should be considered a hobby, though.
It's a hobby if you can, why not?
I think so.
Yeah.
Tasting all the different foods.
Yeah.
The different cultures.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Mary, beside the cats, volunteering.
Volunteering. Well, I used to play saxophone, but I gave up my saxophone, and I played that from 4th grade on forever. I went, band and all that stuff, concert bands, whatever. But in school, not out of school, I didn't play. I mean, I did play a little after that, but not anything big or anything like that. But I gave my saxophone to my nephew, so he has that, and he is so much better than I ever could have ever been. He writes concerts, like he writes the music, and I have a piano here that once in a while I'll twinkle the ivories, but I'm not good at it. I took lessons for a little while, but that's it. I'm trying to think if I have any other hobbies.
Well, one thing that I can mention is when I really got to know Mary, like close and personal, was when Mary opened her house to folks who were going to Green Lakes endurance run. I don't remember the year, but I think I slept over at your house like
and I know
at least.
Oh yeah, and I know my dog Maury liked you too. He liked you. He liked you a lot. I've got a picture of you, I believe, like in your sleeping bag or something, and my dog is on top of him.
Yes, right. So it's more like when I tell folks about ultra running, it's
Yeah.
how I say it's like one way how to describe it. It is one of the best unofficial fraternities. If
Mhm.
you're an ultra runner, you tend to have their trust level up way more than you would do with anybody else, and that it's Mary have done. Mary is not the only one whose house I crashed before the races. So just it's all over the folk just invite them. And I think few years ago as well, there's few minded duckers opened their house as well for folks out of town
Yeah,
to stay
that's
over.
right.
Just first time, never met them before, but you're an out runner, you're safe to stay in my house. So that's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I even had Mario. I don't know if you did the Green Lakes endurance one. Mario Meza he was from Colombia, Bogota or someplace down there, and so he came up and stayed. And then Trishelle, do you know Trishelle? He's a long distance runner. He's from New York or something. He came up one time with Mary Harvey and stayed up here and did Green Lakes. He's a real good ultra runner.
Yeah.
You don't know who he is. Yeah, he's
Nope.
from
Yeah.
New York.
Good.
He's one of the New Yorkers.
So Allison, now that you have the two fluffy ducks as a winner, so what are your future plans? So I'm glad that you like the minor ducks, but it's not the only race in a universe. So what do you think about? What are your future plans, outer plans, or running plans, or overall?
Yeah, so I ran the Buffalo Marathon a couple weeks ago. I ran that with my dad, and I got him a qualifying for Boston time.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so he just turned 70. So he got the new qualifying time, and he got so he's excited to do that. But so now it's on, he would really love it if I could run with him. So I think I might have to pick up my speed a little bit this summer and try to get a Boston qualifying time. I've never done it. I've got about 7 or 8 minutes to knock off my time. So we'll see. But may try that this, see if there's a relatively flat, race end of the summer or so somewhere. I usually do the Wine Glass Marathon in Corning, and then mind the ducks next year, obviously.
Yeah.
Glad to hear. So, Mary, beside the minor ducks, what's on your plate?
Well, I think I've got the Boilermaker. I just switched it to virtual from running the Boilermaker because 14,000 runners out there. I'm going to come back with COVID. I know, and I can't come in the house here with COVID. So I switched it to virtual. I have signed up for the Green Lakes Endurance. That's in the end of August. But I'm sure there'll be more. But those are the ones that that are scheduled right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like Green Lakes run. That was the course is trails, but runnable trails. It's not flat, but enough flat to have it. So
right.
Very nice. So, well, that's all that I had for today, guys. Thank you again for joining this interview, and congratulations for Allison for the race and for being back-to-back wins, and hope to see you again. And Mary, congratulations for setting the unofficial age group record. So now I have to ask, do you know what's a world record?
Oh.
What is it? Do you know what it is?
No, I don't know. So.
Now I'm going to have to look at it.
Yeah. All right. So for next year. So, and I promise I'm going to certify the race, even you say not to certify it. So just in case.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you.
Hey,
And
Yeah, it was so nice, Allison, to meet you, and congratulations. And
nice.
Gil, it's good to see
It's
you.
really nice to hear you, hear your perspective, and you're an inspiration. I hope that I can even run half those miles.
Well, you got a lot of time, believe me, because
Yeah.
like I said, I waited, I was in my 60s.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, good. And I'll see you next year. Mind the ducks, Allison.
Right.
See you
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.